Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What I'd like to give you now is a presentation, an overview of the projects that we have supported under the Intelligent Energy Europe program, but also under the energy efficiency part of Horizon 2020, that are fairly recent and that aims at mobilizing investment in energy efficiency and renewables. And since I'm following on the presentation from the EIB on Project Development Assistance, PDEA, I'd like to start with the PDEA projects that we've supported under our programs. The difference with the EIB is that we've focused on the small and medium-sized PDEA projects, so projects leading to investment between 5 and 50 million euro. And the fact that these projects are smaller doesn't mean that the issues they have to face are smaller. And I'd like to give you one example of projects that we've supported. It's in Denmark. It's Solrød. It's a municipality of about 20,000 inhabitants. And there, it all started with a bad smell, if I may say. It's the smell of rotten algae on the coastline, which was a pain for the inhabitants because that was really smelling bad. And it was also deterring the tourists from coming to the beach. And there the mayor was very proactive, wanted to do something for the environment, and he thought that these algae could be used to produce energy. Unfortunately, the volume that they were collecting on the beaches, even though it was quite high, 23,000 tons a year, was not enough to produce energy. And they had to mix this with something else, but they happened to live near a big factory, a pectin producer, actually the biggest pectin producer in the world, which had a lot of byproducts, which could be mixed with the seaweed that they would collect on the beaches. Unfortunately, the pH of that mixture would be too low to produce biogas. So they talked to university, and they found out that if they mix with manure coming from the pigs and the cattle, then they would increase the pH and they would get something which could potentially produce biogas and therefore energy. They knew that the banks might be interested. But the banks would not invest in that project because they thought it wasn't concrete enough. They weren't convinced about the project. So we had an idea on the top. The banks who might be interested, but were not investing. So we had a gap in between. And I think that's what Mary and Ralph explained very well. And this is where we intervene with project development assistance. So we helped the mayor and his city council to organize the project, contact the different stakeholders, have them around the table, define what exactly they wanted to do, and prepare a bankable project. And 2 years later, we're in a phase where the biogas plant is in construction, should be finished after summer this year. The mayor's very happy with that biogas plant. It will produce 60 gigawatt hour of renewable energies, both electricity and heat. So it's a CHP biogas plant. It's the first of its kind in Denmark. And this wouldn't have seen the light without the project development assistance that we provided through the Intelligent Energy Europe program. So we provided for that project €500,000. And with that €500,000, they were able to prepare a project, an investment project of €12 million and get the funding for it from the banks. So a leverage factor of a 1 to 24, which is more than what was expected. I mean, in our PDA project, we set the bar at 1 to 15 as a minimum leverage factor, so they could go above that. Since then, we've got many more PDA projects supported under the program. We've got 26 projects in 13 countries. Some of them have rely on very traditional financing schemes, like in Solrød, but addressing other projects, other countries, and other types of intervention, in particular in buildings, in condominiums. We've had projects focusing on district heating and cooling systems, in particular the retrofitting of the very inefficient system that exists in certain countries. You see in red one of the projects in Spain, which will be presented this afternoon, and from now on in my slides, I will try to highlight in red those projects which will be presented in the afternoon. The project developers will be here. They will be able to explain how they went through the whole process, and they will explain to you how they made it. Somewhat more sophisticated, we've also had projects fostering the use of energy performance contracts, whereby municipalities or regions can get guaranteed savings through energy service companies. And in many of the cases that we supported, they could also get the upfront investment paid by the energy service company in exchange or of part of the savings over a long time. Particularly interesting in this list of projects are those projects where different municipalities have grouped together to tender an energy service contracts and then achieve a certain critical mass, the bundling project, which Ralph was referring to. I mean, this has worked very well in the lighting sector, and we've got many of these projects which have created this bundling call for tenders. Raising a little bit complexity now, we come to some actions that we've supported that aimed at creating investment funds or cooperatives, energy cooperatives, again with the obligation to mobilize at least at the end of the project 15 times the support that we would give them through a grant. And you will hear this afternoon about two very interesting examples from the UK, one in Cambridge, the other one in Oxford, where they set up such investment fund. And that's quite interesting. Also interesting and quite innovative, and this is why they were requiring some EU support to develop these projects, are the projects which set up schemes whereby the upfront capital will be paid back through the energy bills or through the housing tax. So this is rather new. That's something, for instance, for the on-tax financing scheme, which was developed in the US, was applied in Europe here. And you will hear about 3 projects doing that. As well, finally, under that category of PDA projects, you will hear about a project, two projects this afternoon, developing public energy service companies. So you'll have 2 regions which will explain how they could create a public energy service company to help them retrofit buildings in the housing sector. One in France, in the region of Paris, Île-de-France, and the other one nearby in the Limburg region. Both project developers will be here and explain to you how they made it. Altogether, if you take the 26 projects that we've supported under the PDA facility, you end up with an expected investment of 633 million euro for a total EU support of about 20 million. So that's a leverage factor more or less of 1 to 30, much more than what we were expecting when we launched the initiative back in 2011. These projects are quite well spread in Europe, including in Central and Eastern Europe, so that was quite interesting to get projects from these countries. Still, you can see that there are 2 big gaps in this map. In Germany, 2 big countries, Germany and Poland, where we haven't had any projects so far. But if you add up on the map these green dots, which show you the Elena project, you see that the distribution becomes a little bit better, and you have 1 project at least in Germany and Poland. But still some countries, Romania, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Ireland, some of the Baltic states, where there haven't been any PDA projects yet funded under the Intelligent Energy Europe or the Horizon 2020 program. So these are obviously areas, including Scandinavia, where we would be looking for more examples that can then be replicated more widely. Now I'd like to come to a second family of projects that we've supported in our programs, which no longer are projects on the initiative of local and regional actors in one country only, but are projects of a European nature involving market actors from different countries, and typically 9-10 countries working together in each of the individual projects. And these projects have helped create better market conditions for energy services, and have aimed as well for some others at rolling out innovative financing schemes in Europe. We all know that energy performance contracts have been available for many, many years, but in certain countries have not really taken off. And one of the reasons why these EPC, energy performance contracts, are not so used is the lack of confidence, in particular from potential clients. So we've had projects looking specifically at raising confidence in this kind of contracts. And the Transparency Project, which will be presented in the afternoon, for instance, has developed very interesting codes of conduct for energy service company to raise confidence from potential investors. Some other projects I've taken a much wider approach, and I've looked at a wider range of market barriers to energy performance contracts, and I've directly targeted a number of municipalities and regions and help them through capacity building in tendering energy performance contract. You will hear about an interesting one which is led by Upper Austria, where they are helping municipality regions signing energy performance contracts for the retrofitting of lighting, installing highly efficient LEDs. In all these projects, the developers have produced a lot of tools, guidebooks that can be useful for many people in Europe. We've collected all of them, including the ones which were produced by the previous projects that we supported at the start of the EIE program. And our former colleague, Timothée Noël, who's sitting in the front now, has produced a very interesting database of all the EPC tools, collecting all the materials that we've produced, which could easily be adapted and used in other contexts, including by some of you. It's available, it's on our website, and I encourage you to go and have a look at it. Finally, we also had in this family of projects activities replicating innovative financing schemes. Two of them where they foster peer-to-peer learning between municipalities, some front runners, some which are less advanced, and try to put in place innovative financing schemes such as soft loans, revolving funds, also at municipal level, and also setting up cooperatives. I'm coming to the third and last family of projects, which are the projects that are fairly new. These are the most recent projects. And in Horizon 2020, Program for Research and Innovation, we've taken and we've looked at the problem from a different angle, and we've looked at how to improve the attractiveness of sustainable energy investment for the financing communities. And some of these projects I've looked specifically at reducing the risk, or at least the risk perception of some of the energy efficiency and renewable investment, both for energy efficiency and renewables. And you will hear about an interesting one which just started this year, which is which aims at coming up with a standardization of the process of renovating buildings, and to make it in such a way that the renovation becomes less complex, that transaction costs can be reduced, and more investment can be made in the retrofitting of buildings. Other projects have looked at the housing sector specifically and how to integrate the energy performance of buildings in investment decisions, how, for instance, to integrate the performance of buildings in the valuation of buildings. And the last one, quite interesting, very new as well. Don't forget that we're in Horizon 2020 now, it's research and innovation, and there they looked at how to increase how to assess for investor the energy performance, the climate performance as well of their different investment portfolios. And that's quite new, just started, and there will be a number of people around today to give you more information about these projects. These people you will see in the afternoon sessions where they will chair the different sessions. They're all led by Annette Jan. Maybe Annette, you could stand up so that everybody sees you. Annette is the head of sector of the responsible for all these PDA projects and all the projects aiming at mobilizing investment at local and regional level. And she will be assisted by 7 colleagues who will help her during the day. Our objective today is really to replicate some of the success stories that we've had in the program. We've found them extremely interesting. They've led to actual concrete investment, and we would like more people, more actors in Europe to continue and replicate these schemes. So thank you very much, and have a good day.